Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Great Malabite Efeni. Great Malabite.
Good morning, Ruben.
It's good to sit with you at the same table.
Yes.
Like old times.
Good morning, Rafa.
Like 1985, 1986.
Good morning, Victoria Tundu MK Abiola.
Good morning, Mr.
Looking very much like Liz Taylor in her younger days.
Oh.
With a touch to that hairdo.
Efeni the romantic.
Wow, thank you.
I don't know where they get this poetry from.
Yes.
I think these boys, when they just see you, they become...
I'm amused.
Ruben, let's start the review of today's newspapers. With this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Now, the lead story, VAT judgment. Court refuses federal government's plea for stay of execution. Says it will negate principle of equity. Wike to FIRS. Stop bullying corporate bodies from paying. Alleges Masari others attempting to truncate court ruling. Urges governors to collectively fight for devolution of resources. Threatens lockdown in Rivers again. Yes, Justice Stephen Palm of the Federal High Court yesterday, of course, rejected the request of the Federal Inland Revenue Service to put on hold the collection of VAT by states as earlier granted by the court. And for Governor Wike and other state governors, this is victory. And Lagos State is already running at full speed to get its legislation to ensure that it collects its value-added tax as that judgment from Port Harcourt has ordered. And you can imagine the mega bucks that Lagos will be harvesting, because Lagos had always contributed as much as 55% to the VAT pot for other states to share. Even states who say you cannot drink beer, they destroy your beer, they destroy the beer business in their state and come and share from the VAT on beer from Lagos State. Now, other newspapers are also reporting this story. Expectedly, the Vanguard newspaper, VAT, FIRS loses. Lagos joins tax war as Rivers digs in. Granting FIRS prayer is murder, Judge. Wike orders immediate enforcement of VAT collection on firms in Rivers. VAT bill passes first, second reading as Lagos Assembly laments low federal government allocation despite high collection. Now, there are other stories in the front page of Vanguard newspaper. First, at the bottom of the paper, Mechiala begs Buhari National Assembly to stop implementation of anti-open grazing law by states. Yes, the Mechiala officials addressed the media yesterday, and they are calling for the president to stop and the National Assembly to stop the implementation of anti-open grazing. Now, a number of states have passed the law banning open grazing. But the Mieti Allah officials are acting as if the headers have been ejected or are being ejected from these states. No. What the states are saying is that no to open grazing. You will be confined to certain areas. And this is not the first time, because Ekiti State, under Ayo Fayoshe, passed this anti-open grazing law, and it has been implemented, and it is being implemented in that state. At one point, the Mechiala officials in the state joined the state government, who had their own forest guards. They added their own personnel to ensure that the headers keep to the area restricted for them to graze, instead of just wandering about into people's farm, destroying their crops, and expecting that nothing will happen. That will be lawlessness. If herders can just roam about, destroy people's farms, and hope nothing will happen. So I think the Meachiala had better just comply, because it's not as if they are being barred from doing their business. In Delta State, hectares of land have been allocated by the state government for Meachiala herders to do their business and work towards doing it according to best practices, aka ranching. Now, the leadership newspaper, also the lead story, states begin consultation as court quashes FIR's application. Now, below the photograph, conflicting orders, 3 judges to face disciplinary action. Yes, the Chief Justice of Nigeria acted swiftly as a result of the outcry over what has become known as forum shopping. And we hope that his action will bring some sanity into the judicial process, being abused by politicians and lawyers alike. Now, the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's The Guardian newspaper, VAT, open grazing bills, scale first, second reading at Lagos Assembly. Lawmakers advocate stiffer penalties for herders carrying firearms. Wike orders corporate bodies, businesses to comply or be sanctioned. Meachiala pushes against grazing laws, threatens court action. Akintoye, Farumbi, Don, that's the development agenda of Western Nigeria, flame Meachiala for their stance. Now, below the photograph in the front page of the Guardian newspaper, about 5,000 refinery steel workers receive salaries despite zero production. Ajakuta gobs 2 billion yearly on salaries without producing steel. Workers are busy, not idle, says Osifo. Sacking workers will increase unemployment rates. Yes, it's a dilemma. No production, but you collect your salaries. Well, you say perhaps not your fault. Now, the Ajakuta steel mill, a major, yes.
Before you take the next paper, let's go on a short break. And then when we return, the review of newspapers with Emmanuel Ifeni will continue. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Emmanuel Ifeni, the great Malabite, is still here with us with top stories in today's newspapers from around the world. Emmanuel Ifeni, back to you.
Yes, we'll go straight to Daily Trust newspaper. Lockdown, that's the lockdown in parts of the Northwest. Heavy clampdown on bandits in Zamfara. Operation successful, bandits instigating locals to protest. They are on the run, releasing captives. Matawale will endure pain of security measures. Residents. Over 40 rustlers killed. Logistics hideout bombed in Kaduna. While the Daily Independent newspaper, outrage as CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission, spent 7.8 billion naira above earnings in 4 years. Squanders 284.354 million on staff uniform members allowances. Budgets 155 million, 45 million for consultancy, audit fees in 2021. Reps order zero allocation for agency in 2022 budget. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Times of London, stop more migrants or pay the price. France won. Yes, Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, threatens to withhold millions after Channel hit new record. Yes, yesterday, a record number of people were estimated to have landed in the UK from France. And Priti Patel has told MPs that she's ready to withhold millions of pounds promised to the French to block migrants crossing after that record crossing. Now, The Wall Street Journal, rebound in business travel stores as COVID-19 cases rise. Yes, companies are delaying sending employees back on the road this fall amid another surge in coronavirus in the UK. Of course, as we also see in the Times of London, which we go back to the old normal, rush hour return as Britain goes back to work. Ruben Rufai and Tundu, I hope there's still some time.
Where does one begin? Would you like to start?
Okay, let me start with This Day newspaper. And of interest to me is the editorial in This Day today at page 15, which talks about the need for judicial house cleaning. And I like the fact that that editorial is focusing heavily on the fact that justice has become purchasable in Nigeria. That's a very great indictment. And the newspaper's editorial talks not just about perception. It says that it is in fact the case that it happens. That's a very strong indictment of the judiciary. And I guess that is why, earlier on we had said the steps being taken by the National Judicial Council is in order. But again, in the same newspaper, if you go to the pull-out on law, the lawyer, which is edited by Onikepo Braithwaite. Onikepo Braithwaite, has this long essay on the same subject, in which, in a concluding paragraph, she was making very specific recommendations about the need to amend the rules of professional conduct to ensure that lawyers who engage in forum shopping, some of them are even senior advocates of Nigeria. And that's a big scandal, because if they are senior advocates of Nigeria, it will be very difficult to accuse them of not knowing the law. Because if you are a senior advocate of Nigeria and you don't know the law, then that's a big problem, for the judiciary. And she's recommending, look, disbarment. And she's saying also that judges who, take advantage of the bench, from which they occupy Mount Olympus and, deliver judgments, should also be removed from the bench. So discipline, and our position is on all fours with the position of the chairman of the National Judicial Council. The other editorial that I find of interest this morning, and if any you can understand, my bias for editorials. Yes, he said the Daily Trust.
I'm chairman of editorial board for many years.
He loves that editorial.
You don't miss to read the editorials first. It's like you even read the editorials before the front pages.
With a red pen. The Daily Trust at page 17 is saying that sacking 2 ministers not enough. And, some of the arguments that the newspaper is advancing, I think I agree with the newspaper. You can't just sack 2 ministers. First time President Buhari is sacking ministers in 6 years, and just 2. And the newspaper is saying, look, more ministers should go.
Do you just sack for sacking's sake?
No, it's based on performance. There is a paragraph in the editorial that talks about, look, this is based on an assessment of
what if the president believes that the others are performing?
No,
so why should he sack them?
No, don't let us speculate. We Nigerians don't think that most of those ministers who are playing possum in important
you don't have the power to hire and fire.
He has a power to hire and fire, but I think somebody should draw the attention of the president to that editorial by Daily Trust today.
You just want to see heads roll, don't you?
No, I'm not blood testing. No, I'm not that mean. Anyway.
Ministerial guillotine.
Anyway, thank you very much, Emmanuel. Yes. We'll see you again tomorrow.